It's that grim time of year again. Dark when you go to work and dark when you come home. We're in hibernation mode. Winter is with us, and apart from today, it feels like it's been raining continuously since 1974. Who then, laying claim to reason, could possibly want an ancient sports car with doors that whistle and a hood that drips? Well, me for one, because when it comes to buying old cars, now's the time. Winter is the closed season, but as soon as the yellow orb appears, people start flashing rolls of 20s that would choke a racehorse. Which is why you've got to buy your old motor when it's dank and dull, when it's deep and crisp and even, because that is when prices hit the linoleum. A fertile hunting ground are provincial old car auctions. We're here at a sale in Huntingdon, a place that makes the Polish shipyards look like a fashion centre, and a million miles from the razzmatazz of London sales. You won't find any burnished Bentleys or twinkling Testarossas here, just lined with accessible classic cars sensibly reserved to get away. It's fair to say that classic car auctions contain some of the worst abominations ever to disgrace tarmac, and here is a shining example. A 1970 Channel Crossing Green Hillman Avenger. Now, there are those fond and emergent collectors' curio. Well, let's put the handbrake on that particular misapprehension right now. When the Avenger was launched, it was a steaming conical pile of horse poo, and tie a knot. This 1964 Mercedes 190, on the other hand, is worth buying, and not just because it's a Mercedes. It's valuable because of its period cuteness, those trendy dorsal fins on the back, but more importantly because it's a minter, in cracking, unmolested condition. And condition is everything. Restoring sheds and ruins doesn't pay, and it's a life sentence. Have you got lots of spare time? A garage? A welder? A wife? Do you want to stay married? Cars like this should become someone else's nightmare, not yours. And always be shrewd, hard-hearted and pernickety, because classic cars are just very old second-hand cars, which is why you have to buy them with lots and lots of history and a warranted mileage. Like this 66 2+2 E-Type. I like this because it's got a history file with all the old MOTs, purchase invoice and bills going back to the year dot. You might not be bothered about an intergalactic mileage and a threadbare service history, but the bloke you eventually sell your classic to most certainly will be. Canny buyers go early to have a good old rummage about. Make sure you open all the doors, the bonnet and the boot. Look at the quantity and quality of oil in the sump. Check the filler cap for signs of sludge, mayonnaise and neglect. Get the keys, crank it up, rev it hard and listen for any expensive noises. And look for blue smoke from the exhaust. If there's an oil pressure gauge, check it carefully. Try out all the electrics and don't forget to look everywhere for wretched rust. Ferrous oxide is the sworn enemy of all old motors, rich or poor, and definitely no respecter of pedigree.
$16.75, lot 242. We move on to the 1980 Rolls Silver Shadow. There it is. Excellent condition, full service history, drives superbly, the vendor says. Driven from Norwich to be here.
Now, bidding requires a steady hand and nerves of steel. What you got to do is know your prices, set yourself a limit and stick to it. Listen to everything the auctioneer says and don't steam into the bidding too early. Now, some auctioneers, less scrupulous, indulge in a naughty practice called trotting, which is taking bids off the light bulbs. It's inventing imaginary bids to keep the activity going, but this guy's perfectly straight and all these bids are genuine, which means there are some very cheap cars because the audience is asleep. The only way you get their attention is to set their trousers on fire.
300 on it.
But it's all too easy to get carried away, like someone did on this Allegro Vanden Pla. It might have been mint with a Chatsworth wooden leather interior and a genuine 39,000 miles from new. But would you seriously give $2,000 for an Allegro?
Provision at 2025 again. I'm sure we'll do something with it worth more.
Bargain of the day was the 63 Cortina, complete with Ban the Bomb taillights. It might have been clean, charming and ready to drive away, but bidders kept their hands firmly in their pockets.
All up and running.
All of them are in a coma. A Cortina with a full MOT, 400 quid.
Serious interest at 450. At 500, a good usable car lot at £500. At £500, £525.
Big spenders,
At £525.
Bidding for
At
the car, not the
550,
tyres.
Is there any more? At £550.
It's gonna go. It's gonna go.
Don't miss it for 25. At £550. Again, it's provisional. We'll see what we can do.
Another cheap classic was this 1967 Triumph TR4A. Restored in 1988, it might have had a few non-standard bits, but at $5,900 it wasn't dear at all.
$5,950. You sure? $5,950. It is provisional. We'll see what we can do.
This squeaky clean 65 Porsche 912 only made $4,000, but the owner wanted more. This rather garish 57 Austin Metropolitan made $4,050, and the 66 2+2 E-Type was bid to a very reasonable $9,000. Well, it's been a funny old day, really. There were copper-bottom classics making $3–4 less than book, yet there were marginal motors making mad money. But if you kept your wits about you, you would have seen that there was some seriously cheap gear, like our 1960 MGA, which went for $5,600. Not bad at all. So remember the golden rules. Don't buy scrap masquerading as classics, don't buy projects and basket cases, know your prices and keep your head on when you're bidding. Get it right and you'll have yourself some fun for the summer, not to mention a nice old bit of profit to boot.